Hey guys, we're going to take another look at equivalent fractions by looking at some eggs that are placed in the cartons for us. And then we have to determine what the two different fractions are that could represent. Okay, so don't get confused by the fractions just yet. We're just going to look at these sort of one step at a time. So the first thing we're going to notice is we're going to ask ourselves the question, how many eggs are there? Okay, so let's ask ourselves that question for both sets of cartons. How many eggs? Okay, there are 4 eggs in this first carton here, right? That's pretty clear. There's 4 eggs. And then over here, how many eggs are there? There are also 4 eggs. So as long as we get that step first, that's a great first step. We can identify that there are 4 eggs. We can also identify pretty easily that that means that there are 4 out of 12, right? That if we were looking at these in twelfths, which is that each individual egg is a section, that we would have 4 twelfths. So that's kind of the easy basic way to look at this. There's 4 eggs, which equals 4 twelfths. But now that you're in fourth grade, we don't just look at it the easy way anymore. We have to make things a little bit more complicated. Okay, so now we're going to ask ourselves the question, how else can we put these fractions in here that is in a different way than 4 twelfths? Okay, so let's take a look at this one. We can have 2 eggs in a section, right? And we can pull over our little pieces of red string over here. And now what have I done when I do this? Now I've divided this egg carton into sixths. Okay, so let's check our math. Do I have 6 different sections? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do. I have 6 different sections. How many sections are full? 2 sections are full. So this fraction right here represents 2 sixths. Okay, so 2 sixths is equal to 4 eggs. So what's the fraction for this? It's 2 sixths, which equals 4 eggs. Okay. Now I'm going to come and the challenge here is to try to show 4 eggs a different way. What's a different way to show that fraction? Okay, well, now I'm going to drag my red string over here. And now I've divided this into thirds. Okay, 1, 2, 3 sections. I've divided this into thirds, and my 4 eggs are a whole section. So 1/3 equals 4 eggs. So the fraction equals 1/3, which equals 4 eggs. Okay, so it's still 4 eggs, no matter which way you slice it, it's 4 eggs. And again, if I went like this, right, now it would be in twelfths because now each egg would be its own individual section. And so another way I could then look at this would be that I have 4 out of 12. Okay, all right, so let's go down here and look at this next one over here. Now it's kind of a blank slate and we have to figure this out on our own. We have to figure out how are we going to divide this to make it make sense. Now here's the thing, guys. I can't just like divide it in half, right? If I just divide it in half, I don't have a full section, right? I don't have a full section. I can't have part of a section. I can't divide it in half and then I have part of a half. That doesn't make sense. I have to make it make sense. So what I would encourage you to do at first is just to move these strings around a little bit so that you can see if you can make it make sense to have a full section. Okay, so half doesn't work. Okay, but if I go here, that puts 2 eggs in a full section. All right, that's making a little bit of sense. 2 eggs, 2 eggs. All right, now look at this. Now I've filled a section, okay? How many sections do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I now know that my fraction is in sixths because again, I have counted and that's how many sections I have. Okay, so it's in sixths, okay? How many sixths are filled? 1/6 is filled. Now, I'm going to tell you the very common mistake that we see with fourth graders, guys. A lot of times people want to say that there are 2 filled, okay? And I understand that mistake because there are 2 eggs, right? This does represent 2 eggs. However, it is 1/6, okay? And another way that we can kind of think about that is right here, okay? And I'm going to make this box a little bit of a different color. I'll make it a bright green. Okay, right here, this is a sixth. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I have 6. One whole one is filled. And let's fill this in really quickly to really look at that. Let's look at this a little bit differently now. Now, I think if I showed you that, you would agree that 1/6 is filled. So don't be tripped up by the fact that there are 2 eggs under there. It doesn't really matter. It matters that we've divided it into 6 and we've shaded in the amount of eggs necessary to fulfill the 1/6. Okay, so here's another way of looking at 1/6. Okay, undo all that. Look at this same exact thing, 1/6. Okay, so I've done it once, but can I do it again? I don't know, because now I have to do a different way other than 1/6. Okay, well, if I bring this over here, again, I have to make it make sense. How else can I divide this up? Could I divide it into 12ths, which would mean that each egg is its own section? Is this divided into 12ths right now? It is. It's now divided into 12ths. If I were to do those green boxes again, I'd have 12 of them. So I can do it in 12ths. How many 12ths? Well, now it is 2, right? Because each egg is its own. So 2 12ths. So that tells me that 1/6 and 2 12ths are equivalent. It also tells me that 1/6 of the carton is 2 eggs and 2 12ths of the carton are also 2 eggs. I know that it can be a little bit confusing first. What I would encourage you to really do is to take these strips and just play around with them a little bit. See if you can make it in a way that makes sense. What you cannot do though, okay, two no-nos. We can't have unequal sections, right? So we can't have like something like this, where some of my eggs, there's 2 in a section and here there's 4. We can't have that. We also can't have the filled eggs or the black boxes. We can't have those only fill part of a section. Okay, so it's got to fill a whole section. Here it fills a whole section. The section is 1, and here it fills a whole section. The section is 2. So those are kind of like our rules that we cannot, the no-nos are we can't have uneven sections and we can't have partially filled sections. Other than that, you're free to move these around and make different combinations. All right, keep practicing, guys. You're doing great.